Hey, friends, welcome back to Everyday Us. Last week, we spoke about love languages and how you can use that to communicate with your partner. This week, we are talking about how to deal with balancing time with both families.
From the holidays to random Sunday dinners, figuring out how to divide between families can be tricky. So today we're going to talk about how we handle that, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and how to keep the peace while keeping our own relationship strong. So very excited. Good things to come.
And this is going to be a really tough subject because it's sensitive. You're speaking about your family, your partner's family, and you want to keep in mind that you want to be respectful at all times. No matter if you agree with what the family is saying or doing, you still have to respect your partner's family and they also have to respect yours. There's a certain line that you just can't cross.
Well said. Boundaries within families.
Now, there is a difference between dating and when you're married and how you navigate family expectations. So I remember when we first started dating, I could not wait to be in the group chat, the family group chat. I don't know what was going down, why I thought it was so important, but I just couldn't wait. I thought that was the shoe-in from the family if I could make it in or not, or if I was accepted. How did that go with getting
that's
me
the ultimate
into the group chat?
Once you're officially in the family group chat, you're embedded in the family.
Yeah.
Like that right there. Like that's it right there. That's the first test, I guess. But I still remember, I think the first real family moment I had with you, I think you remember this. This was after we had the first weekend upstate.
Uh-huh.
And then we have this thing every year for my grandmother, rest in peace, where on her birthday, we would get hibachi.
Yes.
Yes. So, yeah, I remember we were upstate and then we ended up coming back. And that was the first real family experience, or at least me introducing you fully to that side of the family. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot. I mean, you were already upstate seeing my mother's side of the family. And then now you were seeing all the siblings, father, grandmother, everybody at one big dinner.
Yeah, and you have 5 siblings, so
5 siblings, so
a lot.
definitely a lot. The ultimate test, and I remember my family, especially my brother, telling me like, "Wow, Ian, you're really throwing her into the family deep end on this one. Like, you're not even, you could have started off with like a simple date with me or with your sister or anything like that, but you're just like full front family. Okay, let's see what happens." And that's exactly what happened, and you were great. But I still remember how nervous you were the entire weekend. You were like, okay, I survived seeing your mom's side of the family, which was great. Now it's the ultimate test this Sunday. Driving back upstate, I remember looking at your face and just seeing it. Like you were just like, oh, you're just so on edge meeting everybody. And it was a great time. Everyone loved you. It was a perfect first interaction.
But it was also embarrassing because, like you mentioned, we went to hibachi and I think he was either throwing a shrimp or something into everyone's mouth, and everyone caught it. Even your grandma caught it in her mouth. And I think he did it 3 times for me, and I missed it every single time. So that was pretty embarrassing.
Oh, what an early moment.
I know, but great times, right?
That was fantastic. That was the ultimate test. I can't think of any other stronger family test. I mean, other than the Utah ski trip, but that was different.
That was also a huge test.
Huge test.
And lucky for you, meeting my family, I think it was pretty simple. You just met my mom. I think we went out to dinner. Mm-hmm. And then
I think you're right.
You met my dad and his family.
That was another dinner, I believe.
Yeah, but I think at my dad's place.
At your dad's place, yeah. No, I still remember that. That was a fun time. I remember we had the dinner, and then we were having wine after, and your sister, Riley, was basically just doing playing the family tree thing, being like, wait a minute, so if you two were to get married and have kids, they would be my nieces or like my nephews or I forget.
Yeah.
And she was just like, she couldn't get over that fact, and she just kept bringing it up.
She was so excited. She's like,
so
wait,
excited.
I get to be an aunt.
I get to be an aunt. Like, oh my God, like you guys have kids. I get to be an aunt. And I remember just looking at your dad. And before that, they asked if I wanted another glass of wine. I was like, no, I'm good. I got to drive. But then after Riley started bringing up the family tree, I remember looking at your dad being like, yeah, I'll actually have that glass of wine now. And then everybody just broke out laughing.
That was so funny. And I think, was it that time where she was making fun of you for how you were eating your curry? So
No. That was your grandmother, and that was later on.
no, remember Riley was like telling you that you have to use your hands.
Oh,
She was getting on you for that. So
and this is, I guess, like one of the next points we're going to bring up, that merging of family cultures. And that right there, that's a great example because, yeah, you had the Guyanese way of eating rotsi.
Yeah.
Which is basically, first of all, this is like a West Indian meal, different interpretations of it. In Grenada, it's basically like a big burrito that you would have wrapped in like a nice flour with curry chicken and everything and potatoes. And that one, it was like a big burrito, and you'd be either just hold it or just
so your
take
roti
big
would
chunks.
be just like wrapped.
It would just be wrapped.
Like a burrito.
And then your version of it was more so like...
we have it on the side.
Yeah, have it on the side, and the actual
kind
roti...
of like naan, if you're thinking Indian food.
Yeah.
Like the naan is on the side, so the roti is on the side. And you take the roti and you dip it into your curry. And you dip it in the sauce,
the chicken, everything.
And so Ian was trying to do it with like a fork or whatever, and my little sister called him out, and she was like, what are you doing? You're supposed to use your hands for this. So we introduce you to Guyanese food, and I'm sorry guys, but the princess is here, Chickpea.
Oh, there she is.
Can we get a couple words, baby girl? What else do you have to say? Do you love our family? Oh, okay. Silence. I don't know if she does or not.
Look at that face.
But she came, she said hello, and now she's gone.
She wanted the mic. You saw it. She was reaching for it.
So yeah, I think we were talking about, family cultures. And also, so on my dad's side, I am Guyanese, and...
we should probably lead with that, honestly.
I was trying to, but it's okay.
You do.
My dad is Guyanese, from Guyana in South America. If you don't know where that is, look it up. And my mom is Liberian, so she's from West Africa. And I have exposed you to African food as well. So you've had a bit of both. And I believe even one Thanksgiving, I made Jello rice for your family, but
Jalo or Jello?
I call it, that's just like my accent of it. It's jollof rice. But the way how I say it so fast, sometimes it sounds like Jello. But
I thought I heard
jollof. Jollof.
Jollof.
And Liberian jollof rice is the best. If you don't know, now you know. Go and find it.
It was very, very good.
So yeah, we have tried mixing cultures, especially with food, because food is such an important thing in my life. I love food, and I love traveling and experience different cultures' meals. So having you try my culture cuisines, it brings a smile to my face seeing you like dive in, eat our rice, eat our food. And you love my grandparents' hot sauce. So that's great.
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, I mean,
Shout out to Auntie Winnie. It's like, still the best. Still have a whole jar of it in the fridge. God bless you.
Of course, your grandmother.
And my grandmother too, yes. She made some fantastic hot sauce. Oh, it was the best.
So
very hot.
We're not trying to replace it, but at least you still have some hot sauce that you can always use.
Very true. Very true. Those West Indian grandmas, they just know how to make the good stuff.
They know.
Honestly, I could have made a serious company out of my grandmother's hot sauce if I were to just bottle it and just, take it globally. But just too much love to do that.
And tell people where you're from. What's your
And then
culture
my
like and your
background,
food?
on my father's side, I am West Indian. He is from Grenada, which is in the Caribbean, pretty much like right off the coast of like Venezuela, if you look at a map. Very, very small island, huge for spices. I think nutmeg is like the number one crop there. Absolutely beautiful island. Went there, been there probably twice. So we have that side of our family with that spicy culture, which is great. Oh, good cooking, good everything.
And tell them
And
what we
then-
always have for Thanksgiving.
Oh, then for Thanksgiving, yeah, we always have oxtail. We always have the curry chicken. My dad would make, and this is another one too. I'm just laughing at this now. My grandmother would always make these. We call them cod cakes.
Yeah.
And basically, yeah, it was great. It was just codfish in like some sort of like, I guess like a batter, basically mixed with scallions, a couple other good seasonings, and then put on the stove and fried into little patties. And yeah, I think we call them cod cakes. And I remember you had it for the first time, and they were called salt patties.
We call them bake and saltfish.
Bake and saltfish.
So the bake is the bread that you have with it on the side, and then the cod we call it saltfish because it's very, very salty.
It's extremely salty. It was exactly the same.
It's the same, but just different.
Just very different.
It's really cool. It's cool to experience the same thing, but a little different. And it's nice to not have you be like, what is that? Or like, what is this? Although I think you were a little bit like that when it came to our pepper pot. So Guyanese people, our pepper pot, that's what we have for Christmas.
Oh.
With the bread, and you dip it into like, the sauce looks kind of black, and it's with all the different meat.
No, I remember this. I was skeptical at the time. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I was.
Also, you were actually... you were pretty hungover because you were drinking with my dad the night before.
There it is, yeah.
So by the time the next morning came and we were eating our pepper pot, that was the last thing you wanted to have because you were just not feeling well. You can't drink with my dad. This guy, he'll drink you underneath the sea.
Yeah. That was an experience. That was a rude awakening. But next time I know how to handle my liquor, just not go for the heavy stuff early. Just pace it. But, night before Christmas. So honestly, we were just getting after it. And your father listens to a number of different like Guyanese radio stations, I guess, or like with the DJs who are just playing, there's this damn good music. Just a lot of good reggae. So yeah, man, we were just listening to that, and your dad he would just call in and just make requests and everything. He was friends with the DJ, and then long story short, later on, we ended up going to summer parties with her parents, and these DJs would actually be the ones at the parties DJing, and I thought that was amazing. Like their following was huge. Good times. But those summers were great.
Right.
I remember, those early summers. My God. Yeah. Wow.
And when you're starting out new in a relationship, don't be afraid to dive in and learn about your partner's culture. There's no other way to win brownie points by showing some interest. And of course, you get to learn your partner on a deeper level by seeing what they have been experiencing growing up. And it has helped shape who they are today by learning their parents' culture. If they are first generation, or who knows, who might be second or third, doesn't matter, but just show some interest in what the family is about, learn what they value, and try to show up and be quiet when you need to be quiet and participate when you need to participate. But especially when you are dating, I think you're more of a fan, watching on the sideline, cheering them on. The family is your home team, and you are just participating on the sidelines.
You're an absolute spectator at that point.
You can voice your opinion to your partner in a respectful way, like, yo, your family, sometimes they can do some crazy things, or I don't know if my family would do that, but That's your family. And like I would say it to him in a polite way if there was anything like wild, but I would never be like, your family is disgusting. The way how they drink all the time, the way how they never clean. This is all
Guilty.
fake. Besides the drinking, they love to drink. But like I wouldn't say like, oh, your cousin doesn't know how to clean. Your cousin's house is always so dirty, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, like I would stay in my lane. If we have to go to your cousin's house, I'll just be like, can we get a hotel? Now, this is something that I'm making up. None of his cousins have any bad places, but if there's something negative, try to say it in a polite way to your partner, voice it, but you don't want to be that person who is the problem. You do not want to separate your partner from their family members. You want them to stay together and you want to keep the peace. And so what you have to do is just voice your opinions to your partner, but know that they can either take your advice or not take your advice, and that's totally up to them. You cannot force your partner to do anything they do not want to do with their family. You're just there to give advice, if that.
Yeah, sometimes not even, honestly.
Right.
Like sometimes you really can't give any advice or say anything. All you're doing is absorbing, being a spectator till, I don't know, maybe like the fourth or fifth family event, months in, maybe years in, when you feel more acclimated with the family. Before that, I feel like it's too soon to base any opinion, because then the only response is, well, now you know my family.
Yeah,
or no,
exactly.
you're still getting to know my family. So it's like, okay, like that. Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, in the end, there are times in the beginning where you definitely feel the need, but you kind of you have to remind yourself, maybe this is too early. Maybe it's maybe I'm still just trying to figure out the way of the land here with this family. But I guess the most important thing at first is just to understand their taste palette, and just be happy that it's advanced, that it's cultured, that it's significant, and not basic hot dog hamburger at dinner with fast food being delivered. Like, if the family's cooking and cooking well, that's a great start right there.
But
That's
what
a
if the
huge start.
family doesn't?
Well, then.
So that's something like you don't want to say like, hey, your family eats like slobs or they never have healthy meals. I just wouldn't say anything.
You have to hold your peace still.
Right.
At that point, you have to hold your peace. When you get home, solo or wherever the hell, then you call that friend and maybe just tell them a few things. But you definitely do not voice your opinion too early until
to
you're
your
more
partner. You don't want to
in the
say
family
that
with your partner. Because, you have a lot of people who could just take that completely the wrong way and be like, wait, what do you have against my family? What do you have against this and that? And you're like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, the chicken could have been more seasoned.
Because they might be used to that growing up.
Yeah.
Wait. You know what I just thought of? We went camping not camping, we went glamping with friends. And one of the couple, they live in Vermont. And I asked the question, I was like, so what was it like growing up in Vermont? Like, how was your place? And like, was it all like woodsy? Because he would tell me that he would like chop like wood in the back and chop trees. I don't know, all this stuff. And his partner interrupted and she's like, yeah, I would like never want to grow up in their house. Like, it's nice, but never for me. Like, I could not imagine my childhood in that house. And I just look at her and I'm like, you just said that in front of your partner. He grew up in that house. He actually experienced that. And she was like, oh, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean it like that. And I just like,
regretted what you said after.
Like, I can't believe you just
but
on his
that's
house.
a great example. That is that's a good example.
Right. It's like you're used to something different, but don't crap on your partner because you don't know what they're used to. They might be used to things being all over the place and having fast food or I don't know what, but we all have our own family traditions, and as long as it's not affecting you and your own household. Now, you can say anything to your partner when you're at home, like, pick up this stuff. We're not going to have our place a mess. We're not going to eat fast food all the time. We're going to cook a meal. You can control your own household, but when it comes to your partner's family, you
None of your business.
drink water and mind your business.
And, as you get older, or, as a relationship grows and holidays start coming into effect, that's when you really have to start thinking about, like, just splitting the time, and that what struggle comes with that exactly, because you're being pulled one way, being pulled another way. And for me, it was always a matter of, like, just growing up, my parents were divorced. So Christmas, always with my mother. Thanksgiving, always with my father. And at an early age, we used to split Christmas on and off, but Thanksgiving was primarily always with my father, basically. So that kind of, obviously that routine continued into adulthood. And so now being with Mariah, and once our relationship was in a great place, we were fully committed, it was a matter of splitting that routine, but now at the same time having to split with your family as well, and trying to figure out, like, okay, so how's this work? Where are we going to be now? Where are we going to be then? And I think it was like one of our first Christmases together. It was a lot of driving. I remember we did Christmas at your father's place. Christmas Eve at your father's place. That was the night
in South Jersey.
Yeah, in South Jersey. That was the night that the two of us stayed up very late, having just rum and everything, and woke up feeling like hell. And then we woke up the next morning, had the family photo, and then, basically just
hit the road.
The car and hit the road, heading all the way up to Chatham, New York, which was a good 3-hour drive. And once we got there, we spent Christmas there. But I guess that was like the first real, like, I guess, family split.
Yeah.
With the holidays and everything and family time. And I think we handled it pretty well.
We did. And it was tough for me because growing up, especially when I was growing up as an only child, I was always with my mom for Christmas. She would get her phone and record me opening up every single present. So I wanted to be with my family during Christmas. And at the beginning, when you're dating, you have to navigate, do we spend the holidays together or do we spend it apart? And do not take offense if the first holiday it is apart. There's a lot that goes into it. You have your own traditions. Maybe you want to spend that Christmas morning in your own place. Maybe you don't want to spend it with their family. It's okay. Take your time. But when you guys are ready, try to be fair and see how you can divide it up, because we all have our own traditions and we all want to spend time with our own family if it's a loving family. So I really appreciated that we were able to be with my family for Christmas Eve and then with your family for Christmas Day. But as our relationship progressed, we slowly started spending Christmas mainly with your family, just because your family goes up to New Hampshire. And we wanted to spend more time with your grandma and your family. And my family, we get to see a little more often. So we slowly gave up the Christmas part of that. Although I feel like that'll be changing.
Yeah, I mean, that's just it too. It's like,
because who knows if we're gonna continue to go.
Yeah, no,
we'll
that's
see.
The thing.
It's a lot of changes.
Exactly.
And it's difficult when your families are far apart. So splitting the time is tough. But for Thanksgiving, for the most part, we try to divide the time. It's only been in recent years where my dad has picked up and was like, see ya, going to Florida.
His vacations.
But for the most part, we would spend Thanksgiving at your dad, and then we would go to my family afterwards.
Yes.
But the crappy part about it is that both of our dads are Caribbean, so dinner is like 8 p.m.
That's early.
At both families.
But they want you there at like 10 a.m. for no reason.
For what?
You're like, for what? Like,
just
why?
to show face, just to sweat in the house with everyone. Oh my gosh, just last what was it, Thanksgiving or Christmas? I was dripping in your dad's place.
Oh, your uncle's place? Oh, no, my dad's
No, your
place. Yeah,
dad's.
yeah.
Thank you for dropping that, Chickpea.
Thank you, Chickpea. At least we're still
Thanks,
recording.
girl.
Okay, well, didn't like the food we gave her, I guess.
Guess not.
But no, I do remember that, and it's it's another thing too. Just like as time goes on, and as families get older, and as grandparents get older, it's definitely just amazing to see how just things change. Like this was the first Christmas Eve where we didn't see my extended family for Christmas Eve in Manchester, and we've been doing that for as long as I can remember. Honestly,
Yeah.
we've always done that. We've always played Secret Santa, and it was the only time, only time a year that I see that extended family, and kind of with my own family as well up there. Like my uncles and them. Only time of year that I really see them. I mean, sometimes on 4th of July we may or may not see them, but like it's just like something you can't miss, something we need to always be there for. But ever since my grandmother sold her home, that we've had these magical Christmases in all my life. And now when we go up there, we're all renting hotels or just staying at my uncle's place. And it's like the vibe is just
So different.
It's so different. And it's like a precursor of just how it's going to be going forward. And then I have my brother who has the 2 babies, and they're looking to get a house. And already, like everything we're talking about, they're experiencing more than we can imagine, because they're being pulled left and right for every single holiday, and soon they'll be having a home, and then it's just that next chapter, honestly. And it's just amazing, just the expectations of family, and then you have to set boundaries for your own relationships, and
It's tough.
It's very
I
tough.
don't like, as we get older, traditions start to change. Even up until recently, we used to give gifts to everyone. And now slowly we stop giving gifts. And once, I bet, like, when we start having kids, things will change. And I can only imagine how traditions, how we split up holidays will change once children enter the picture. That is going to be a whole nother thing to navigate. But one step at a time, and know that both of your families are important. So don't try to prioritize one family over the other. You should definitely show respect for both and try to divvy up your time as much as possible. And if it's not with the holidays, then see on random weekends how often you can go and visit those family members. It's really important to spend time with them, because at some point you are going to need your village, and you're going to need help when it's just not the 2 of you. You'll need help sometimes.
oh, of course.
And if you're just prioritizing each other and you're like, oh, forget the family, and one day when you actually need your family members, whether it's to babysit or to run an errand or do something, they're not going to be there to help. So show respect and be kind and be patient, and allow your partner to handle their family.
Exactly. And just always be ready to answer the call for family. Because it's, anything will pop up anytime, and, just being there is the most important step, whether it's close-knit family, extended family, in-laws. I mean, that's like the ultimate test as well going forward. Like once you're fully acclimated, it's like, okay, well, can we depend on you? Can we count on you? Last
Right.
second, 3 a.m, 4-hour drive. Hey, we need you here now. And, like I remember your grandmother in Toronto. We went to go see her, a few months before she passed. And that was a good time. Like if we didn't do that, I don't know if I would have ever had that relationship with her. And
My great
your
grandmother.
great grandmother we went to go see. And I remember cooking with your grandmother for your great grandmother while you were passing on the couch, and us building our
Doing what I do
relationship,
best.
and connecting and sharing similar stories, and me just talking about my grandmother and her just having so much to relate as well, and just having that connection, that bond, and not to mention those final few months with your great grandmother, and just getting to know what a fantastic woman she was. And she had a very heavy Guyanese accent, so I understood every other word, but for the most part, you were a great translator, letting me know everything she was saying. But yeah, fantastic woman, and yeah, just a good example of just being there for family when, even if it's just, you know, like a last second thing. I think we just got back from Bahamas like a week or two before, and we were just like, okay, well, let's go to Toronto, let's see her, and we made that trip just like that, and it was a great weekend, and yeah, honestly, that was great. Just prioritizing family over our relationship, like you're saying.
And that's a great thing. I'm glad you brought that up, because it's not only just showing respect to the family, but also building your own relationship with each member. You know, trying to send a text message just saying, hey, what are you doing? Just checking in, making sure things are good, or seeing if you can schedule a lunch date or a dinner date. I tried texting your sisters and seeing if we can set things up, trying to do things without you, just having our own little relationships that I can try to build. It can be difficult at times, but it can also be easy as well. You know, you have to try.
Yeah.
And know that it's not a one size fit all. Like what we're saying here can be very simple, but we cannot control people. So you might be in a situation where the family, you're just not vibing with them. No matter what you are doing, you don't get along with them. They're not really getting along with you. Don't put too much pressure to be best friends with the family. Think about yourself. You don't like every single family member that you are blood related to. And that is okay. You don't have to be buddy buddies with your partner's family. That is the ideal. Of course, we would love that. But
you just don't want to ever try too hard. Because that's like the one thing, too, that sticks out to a family more than anything, is someone trying overbearingly hard to fit in or be a part. And it's like, no, like this is, you know, like you're joining a colony. You know, the colony needs to adapt to you before you adapt to them. You know, like same with the family. They need to get used to you, your ins and outs, your likes, your demeanor, your hubris, before they, you know, before you can ask them like, hey, so what do you think?
Right.
You know, like they need to fully absorb you and take you in. And it requires patience, honestly.
Exactly.
It requires a lot of patience. So just look for the small things, see the things that people like, see the things that people don't like, the tastes that people are fond of, the films people are fond of, the sports teams, whatever the hell it takes. And just, you know, slowly put the pieces together till you know, can complete the puzzle of just what exactly this family's looking for from you, or what they're expecting almost, or just, you know, ways for you to not step on any toes while they're still trying to figure out who is this person dating my grandson, nephew, niece, anybody, cousin. Like, just let them figure you out and be patient.
So what happens when the family doesn't get along?
Well, I mean, you're preaching to me. I mean, with divorced parents growing up, I mean, they're both sides. There's always some tension here and there. And then even on same sides, you go to family dinners, this and that, and there'd still be some tension. But it's just how it is. You know, it's just the circle of family. And, you know, like I remember hearing stories of my grandfather way, way back having issues with my great grandmother. You know, like just literally not being able to be in a room with her for more than 4 minutes and stuff like that. And, you know, it's just family's family, you know. And honestly, there's going to be people who butt heads, whether it's about politics or way of life or career choice or anything. You can't make people you can't make everybody in your family happy. But, you know, for the times that you're with them for holidays or birthdays or wherever the hell, just show face and just honestly leave the BS at home.
Right.
But you do get put in situations where this stuff does happen. But, you know, it's just a matter of controlling the alcohol, controlling the reactions.
Definitely controlling the
just
alcohol.
Being mature.
And being respectful again. You don't have to love everyone. You may not even agree with their values or what they're into, but you still just have to respect them. And you do not want to be that person who is keeping them away from their family, whether you like them or not. You don't want to be like, oh, well, so and so's wife doesn't like them or doesn't like the family, so they're never allowed over or they're never allowed to do that. You don't want to be that wife or that husband who your partner can't go around their family because you don't like them or they don't like you, vice versa. Try not to keep your partner away from their family. We're not trying to keep them apart. We're trying to keep the peace and respect all around, no matter if they're disrespecting your partner or your partner's disrespecting their family. I think it's your responsibility to just try to keep the peace. And hopefully you can bring another light that your partner isn't seeing from his family side or vice versa. But there's a way that you can communicate that without getting yourself involved. And without you making that decision of, yeah, you're no longer allowed to go over there and be with your family.
Yeah, no, well said. Well said. Choose your battles, basically. Yeah.
Definitely choose your battles, when to come in and when not to come in.
Mm-hmm. And when it's worth it. Like, obviously, there are times in families where you need to stand up for your significant other. And sometimes that takes you out of your comfort zone. But that's also a good reflection on just the type of person that, this family member's with. Like, oh, okay, she's quiet all night, but she's going to stand up for him when she hears something completely just disrespectful. Mm-hmm. That also does show volumes. Like, okay, she does have, some hair in her chest, or, she's got some big cojones. She's willing to stand up to the family for her man. And yeah, stuff like that is, it definitely, it could be hit or miss, obviously, but in the end, I mean, it's good to show that you stand by the one you love in front of their family, honestly. Mm-hmm. And the family, despite the fact that it could be a little salty at first, they'll respect it in the long run because it shows.
Exactly. Well, we would like to know, how do you and your partner handle family time? Do you split holidays? Do you rotate visits? Or are you set on firm boundaries? Let us know in the comments, of course. And we can't wait to hear from you.
Yes. And next week, we're doing something totally new. This will be our first couples therapy session. Yes. Ooh. We'll be joined by Francesca Weir. She is a LCSW, basically. Licensed
clinical social worker.
Yes, there it is.
Hope we said that right.
Yeah, she'll be here to talk about communication, conflict resolution, and ways to help strengthen our relationship. So you won't want to miss this one. Coming at you next week.
Therapy session.
Mm-hmm. Good things to come.
That'll be exciting.
So as always, please like, please subscribe, please comment, please share. And as always, we'll see you next week. Love you.
Thank you, everyone.